myself on that, so I do apologize to you. Tomorrow I will be on time, and the next day I will be on time. And you keep praying for me that I am here on time, rain or shine. I will be right here to do the show. That's very important. And I'm delighted that we have so many people listening to the show. That's very good. A lot of people have been giving me very positive comments. That's fine. That's all well and good. But there are problems that need to be solved, and your support is going to be needed because I'm going to tell you some things today which Professor Sidney McCarter Walter Thompson will be doing in cooperation with others at the radio station and my own staff, that we can get some things done. Now, I heard about on another radio show, we're talking about fathers. Let me just put in this message for the fathers of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Fathers, provoke not your children to wrath. The host of that show was trying to get people to call in positively to speak to the men. Are the men doing better today? Yes or no? I called into the show and I told him, you asked a very difficult question, because many of the callers could not say specifically that the men are doing better. I can tell you very plainly. I told him about my father. I always knew Daddy. I always knew Mommy. From the time I was born up to the time they passed. My father gone more than 20-some years. My mother's been gone more than 20 years also. And it was just as if they were always there. They were a strong covering, a strong protection. So a lot of things that are happening out there, when you people tell me about things that are happening, I am not as familiar as you are, because I've never experienced that. There were 3 others in the house, grandchildren. My father had 9 of his own, 6 boys and 3 girls, and he had all of them born at home because he didn't want his children to get mixed up with any children. The hospital is right outside our door. But he decided, well, of course, in those days, you had midwives. My grandaunt was the midwife, and she delivered all 9 of us at home. He was a very strong disciplinarian. In fact, in my day, the men were in charge. Everywhere you went, there was a man in charge. Police officer, well respected. Headmaster, they didn't call him principal in those days. They were headmasters. All were males. In the church, there were pastors, no female pastors. We know nothing about them kind of things. All were males. On the sports field, coaches were males. They coached men and women, male coaches. You went into the store, male managers, male sales clerks. They didn't know nothing about no women. Now, the women were there. Let me just make that clear. My mother was always there, Mommy and Daddy, every single day of my life. And even though I've been gone more than 20 years, I still feel as if they're still there. I feel their presence. But they didn't take any crap from their children. If you were wrong, they told you you were wrong, and that's it. They never took up for us. They didn't love us to the point where they decide they will cover you for anything that you did was wrong. When the teacher said something, the teacher, that was law, as far as my mother and father were concerned. You speak against an elder, that's a no-no. Don't even think it. Don't even express it. It will never be accepted. Now, the generation after me, I see all kind of cracks and decays where there is no strong male leadership. And I mentioned this to those on the other show. We have the males in society very weak. I'm not saying there's no hope for us now. But scripture says, children, obey your parents. I always tell this to young men. They may not like daddy, they may not like mommy. Whether they take care of you or not, you are to honor and respect. And that honor, your mother and your father, that goes from the beginning of your life to the end of your life. It covers all elders in your community, in your nation. You always show respect to your elders. You may disagree with some things they may say, but you disagree respectfully, just like the Prime Minister. He's an elder. But you can disagree with him, but you shouldn't call him ill names. You shouldn't speak in a derogatory manner against him, because you know, those who listen to this show know there's some things that I say very bluntly in relation to the Prime Minister or the office of the Prime Minister. He just happens to be in the office today, so it would apply to him. Same thing with Mr. Christie. He was in the office of Prime Minister. Same applied to him. Also, Mr. Minnis in the office of Prime Minister. Same applied to him. Different personalities in that office. Now, our duty is to help them to run the country better. Now, not everything you may say to them, they would necessarily like it, and that's understandable, because they have their own mind, they got their own way of thinking. But the Constitution is supreme. Not the word of the Prime Minister, not the word of the Cabinet, not the word of the government, not the word of the Senate, not the word of the Parliament. The Constitution is supreme. The Governor General is not supreme. The King is not supreme. It's the Constitution, baby. And a lot of you are still questioning whether we are a sovereign, independent, democratic, theocratic state. Because you are seeing persons who are acting in a manner that is not constitutionally sound, and so you believe, because you've lived a short lifespan, you were not there from the very beginning. I was from day one, and still will be here until Christ comes back. The point is, because you've seen the weaknesses of your leaders, and I'm not saying you should denigrate them because of their weaknesses. You speak to those issues where they're weak, and you try to help them as best as you can to change. Now, the hardest thing for a human being to do is to admit when he's wrong. We had a minister of immigration who gave a family scraps of paper, what he signed, and said they were citizenship papers. He had no legal authority to do so, but the man said he did nothing wrong. He gave the dead man, a dying man, who had no qualifications according to the Constitution, neither did his wife or his children, but he took it upon himself to say he can grant him citizenship. See, this is the kind of crap that's been going on for 52 years by the government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. It's called the Bahamas Nationality Act, which is not even an act, it's just a bill. When you check back and see the history of it, you will see that it was passed when we were a colony. They set the date July the 10th, 1973 for the Bahamas Nationality Act to come into effect. The Bahamas Nationality Act purported to change articles in the Constitution. The act of itself and by itself, unless it had legal authority, by a referendum, that's what the Constitution calls for. A referendum by the people of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. That was never done. And do you know they're still working with that piece of crap 52 years later? And many persons have been, quote unquote, granted citizenship fraudulently by the government of the Bahamas on a false document. See, when you do something on a false document, it remains false, Bahamians. It could never be right. So you have a lot of people say they're applying for citizenship under the Nationality Act, which is not even a law. It's just a bill. It has no constitutional authority, never did, but they've used it for 52 years. And we have sat right here as a nation and allowed the government of the Bahamas to carry on with this piece of crap for 52 years. And we have not done anything to stop it. Bahamians need to stop because it's killing the country. We got all kinds of strangers, foreigners, aliens, and outsiders talking about there's Bahamian. They can't even speak the language. They don't know Bahamian customs. They don't know Bahamian culture. They know nothing about the Bahamas. But yet they're around here say they're a citizen. You can't be equal with me. I discount them. These people ought to be sent back to where they belong. That's why some citizens had to take action. It's still before the court. We hope the court will start it this month, but we will see. We appeal to the court. You say you're a court of justice, well, we will see just how much justice we will get because we have a disagreement with the government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas 52 years long. And it's not right, Bahamians. You need to go and check and do your homework. When the Nationality Act was supposed to come into effect, July the 10th, 1973, it died that very same day. You know why? Because it didn't line up with the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, which made us a new nation. They were so ignorant, the government was so ignorant, didn't even understand the remarkable transition from being a colony into a nation. I'm not discounting other things the founding fathers did, but they were very ignorant about that. And they died in their ignorance. And we have suffered as a result of it. And succeeding leaders have never corrected the error. It is right there in front of your face. That has created all kinds of problems in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. We're feeling the effects of it today, Bahamians. Then you got Article 7.1. 7.2. I'll just leave that for a little bit later. That's a deep one. You also have the article regarding the single fathers, which will also apply to single mothers. How is it they were saying a woman, Bahamian woman, having children, born anywhere in the world, automatically is a Bahamian? That's what they tell you. The Constitution doesn't say that, you know. I checked every single citizenship article. It doesn't say that. What it does say, the Bahamian father, either mother or father, having children born where? In the Bahamas. It didn't say in Haiti. It didn't say in Jamaica. It didn't say in the United States. No, sir. Now, how do we know how many were born in the Bahamas? And either one, you could have the father is mother, the father or the mother, a citizen at the time of the birth of the child. The Constitution is very specific about that. We're around here talking crap. If the child was born elsewhere, the child is not automatically a citizen of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Now, the Privy Council has made a ruling. The Privy Council didn't say anything that was not in accordance with the rules of the Constitution. All the Privy Council did was confirm what was already in the Constitution. So there was no remarkable change, as some are trying to point it out to be. It's just that the government of the Bahamas and the Department of Immigration, or whoever was responsible for dealing with constitutional issues, they were wrong. And as a result, these people were never given their just due. Now, there are other ramifications of that. We got to find out about the numbers. We got to know who these people are. But every time we keep hearing about people being sworn in as citizens of the Bahamas, we don't know nothing about them. We have to be able to identify whether we agree or disagree. But some of these things are done secretly. So they can swear them in secretly. They're supposed to be sworn out in the open so everybody can see who the heck they are. We could point out that fellow over there, that woman over there, that ain't no citizen. You protest. But we have had many that are added and some flying in with passports, some flying in with documents, never been in the Bahamas, but they come with the documents, say they're being. You any crap like that? Haiti has been banned by the United States for flights into the United States. I got to get the other confirmed Caribbean nations, but we understand Haiti is one of them that has been banned. They can't go to the United States. There was a report about the Bahamas, the LPI, the Lyndon Pendling International Airport. As we know today, they're still flying into the United States. So that may be an error there. The point is, we have to get the facts as they are. When I speak to constitutional issues, I don't trifle and I don't play. When I ask the financial world, and I'll mention it right now while it's in my head, to give us 1 hour of their time, those who have this knowledge and understanding about the financial terminology in the thing that's being discussed, the budget debate, yes. Because I'm going through it myself. I'm studying it, looking at it, examining it. It's like I do all things. But the financial terminologies that are being used are not common to the average person. Now, I don't consider myself to be no financial expert. So I am calling on you who are in the financial world, who understand what these international agencies are saying about this B rating and B1 and B2, whatever it is. Or you come down a notch, you go up a notch. We don't understand that kind of terminology. I'm calling on you to give us some of your time, just 1 hour of your time, to come on the show and explain in simple, basic, fundamental language. So that woman in Baintown with those 5 boys who is preparing lunch for her children right now, and the man in Fox who got 6 daughters, he can't find no young men to marry his daughters. What kind of crap is this? Then I understand another one get killed in Harbor Island. Another one seriously injured. Died. I think the fellow was 25. The fellow who apparently committed the violence was dressed in black. You see how people behave? They put on black clothing, dark clothing, so they cannot be identified. But this young man at the age of 25 is dead. They just commit murder on Harbor Island too, you know. A peaceful place like Harbor Island. I've been there twice in 1 year. I didn't like sitting in a golf cart and you're looking backward. You know, it kind of was awkward for me. But I always like to sit facing as you go forward. But it was the other way around. But that was just for a short period of time I was there to do some business on Harbor Island. And it seemed to be a nice, decent place from what I saw. But they just killed people in Harbor Island. How we let that happen? How them Harbor Island people let that happen? Fell in dark clothes. Shot 2 of them on the golf cart. One is dead. The other one, I believe, they brought him to the hospital, Princess Margaret Hospital. They took him to the clinic. But you know, the clinics are not fully equipped to help people who have serious injuries. That's why you got to have space at Princess Margaret Hospital. I've always lived outside the door of Princess Margaret Hospital. I don't want to be a patient going there now because there are so many strangers and foreigners and aliens and outsiders who inhabit the beds in there. Unless they can let me bring my own bed, that would be fine. But I don't want to be a patient at Princess Margaret Hospital. And I don't think you would want to be a patient either, because the hospital is flooded with people who are sick people. Now, let me get back to what I was saying about the citizenship issue. We don't know of any mass deportations, as Donald Trump did, stop people from crossing the southern border into the United States. And some people said, on one person it was, not just some people, but one person, they don't hear about any boats coming in. No, that seemed like it go on silent for months. You think they stop coming in? You think they stop, these wicked people stop entering the country illegally? Give me a break, Bahamians. If you understand the way wicked people operate, they operate in the dark, just like that fellow who was dressed in black clothing so no one could easily identify him. But they can rip that dark clothing off him and you'll be able to see exactly who or she is. That has to be done sometimes, Bahamians. We have some wicked people in our midst purporting to be Bahamian. They never know Bahamian. They got a piece of paper talking about they got citizenship. And that makes them equal with a genuine Bahamian like me. You got to be crazy. But that's the kind of crap that's been going on for 52 years, Bahamian, from day one. And as I speak to you today, June the 11th, just about a month away from independence, it has never, ever been corrected. So we hope the court would see the wisdom of correcting this error and stop it. And that's the way to go constitutionally. You take it to court and let's see what the court has to say. So we've done our homework. We know the government is wrong, completely wrong. We know the immigration minister was wrong and still is wrong. Then, of course, I hear the other fellow say he ain't running no more. That's another story again. This is Professor Sidney McGard, Walter Thompson. This is Constitution Day. I don't have any guests in the studio today. I take this business very, very seriously because there are some things I want to say to you, Bahamians. We have to do something to save our country. Right now, we're in very serious trouble. Very serious trouble. We got to fix it. This is Professor Sidney McGard and Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. We'll be back after the break. Sidney MacArthur Walter Thompson. Because let me tell you, some constitutional questions are extremely difficult to answer. I know my sister, my second oldest sister, pepper me with some hard hitting constitutional questions. There's still some things I am researching to make sure I get the right answer according to constitutional law. I think, Mr. Producer, I believe you have a caller on the line. Caller, you live on it. Go ahead, please.
Yes, Professor, you know what boggles my mind?
Yes, ma'am.
And I don't think the average Bahamian is aware of what's really going on in this country with this citizenship and all these things.
That may be
When
so.
you open up a paper and you see all these different faces,
Yes.
Mary, Tom, Susie applying for citizenship. Okay, we don't know anything about these people. We don't know if their name is what it is.
That's true.
We don't know their background. We don't know their character. We don't know their history. We don't know any iota about it. All you can see is you got this face that say Mary Brown or Tom, whoever. That's a very serious thing in a world now where there's so much terrorism
Yes, ma'am.
and all these chaos.
Yes.
To let these people into our country.
Yes, ma'am.
If I was in charge, I would find out where you're from. I would contact the law enforcement there. This picture is Mary Brown. Could you give me the scoop on Mary Brown? Where did she live? What did she do? Where she went to school? I would do a thorough investigation of this individual before I allowed them. And I would not give them citizenship because citizenship means I am taking you in as one.
That's
And
right.
citizenship, when you give a person citizenship, you're flooding your place with all these people.
Yes.
You can have the school system. You can have the medical, the hospital. You have to create a database with all these different names and whatnot. You don't know if this is the right thing. So this citizenship thing, it should be cut down to such a small fraction
Yes, ma'am.
that in order to qualify, you got to go through so much red tape because we don't know what we're doing. And this thing is more to it than what meets the eye. This is
Yes,
a
ma'am.
danger time bomb. We don't know what we're
Yes, ma'am.
doing.
Yes,
Why we
ma'am.
want to give citizenship papers like Holy Communion, man? This is a serious thing. We don't know nothing about these people. How you know they don't want to come here to settle in to organize a coup or junta?
Yes,
You don't
ma'am.
know nothing about these people. You don't know if they're healthy. You don't know if they got some communicable disease.
Yes, ma'am.
Nothing with these people. Where are they going to work?
Yes,
They're coming here. Where are they going to live? When are they going to leave? Why are they coming here? Why here? What are they contributing?
Ma'am.
But this thing, we don't know what love's right for us. We don't stop our foolishness with these people. We don't know what we're doing.
Well, let's put it this way. The government of the Bahamas doesn't know what it's doing. That's the real culprit. The real culprit with the citizenship issue is the government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas.
Yeah,
You have to lay it
why
right at their
would
feet.
we want to bring these people here? Why? What is it? Do we know anything about them?
Well, I
What are they
certainly
coming to
don't.
contribute? Where are they going to work? How are they going to build this country?
Yes, ma'am.
Nothing. Just to say, Mary Brown is a citizen. Yeah, you're a citizen, but what are you bringing to the board of this country?
I'm going to comment on
Ah,
it. Thank you for your contribution. I understand clearly where you're coming from. Do we have another caller, producer? Caller, you're live on air. Go ahead, please.
Professor, hi.
Hey, how are you? You've been hiding from me, eh?
I'm good.
You haven't been hiding from me. He was my friend,
No,
man, from
no,
Grand
not at
Bahama.
all. Not at all. Not at all. Yes,
Yes,
yes.
okay.
But I'll tell you, Professor, you see in the papers where Mr. Says has said, true immigration, I guess now we're using their funds in order to run the country.
Yes, ma'am.
It's revenue,
Yes.
selling citizenship and work permits they put their money in the treasury. We're in
That's a
a sad
problem.
state of affairs in this
We certainly
country
are. Yes,
where
ma'am.
we are depending on immigration fees to run our country.
Yeah, that is a sad state of affairs.
We're really in trouble. And
Yes, ma'am.
I'd heard Mr. Cartwright say in the past that we know these folks are not entitled to citizenship,
He's correct on that.
that we should give them right, that we should offer them residency.
No, you don't offer them nothing.
But then
I disagree with him on
question
that
to
point.
you, I do too, because Professor, my question to you then becomes, if we offer these folks residency, we're going to still be outnumbered in our country, because what happened to the children that they may have in the Bahamas as
asked a
them
good
having
question.
residency in the country?
You asked a very good
We,
question.
we're only a couple years of being the minority in our own country.
Yes, ma'am.
You know, if you're illegal, you are illegal. And if you are a foreigner, you are a foreigner. And nothing that you have, if you're not entitled to citizenship, there's nothing that you have could give you that.
No,
if
it
you're
can't.
not, you're just not.
The Constitution does not.
You know, and
Yeah, go ahead.
But Professor, we now see the Prime Minister with these photos lately, with these Haitian children. This gentleman down in Elutra who said he got Elutra on lock.
Yes, ma'am.
As far as the PLP is confirmed,
Yes,
concerned, and he's the one that is calling Bahamian people stupid. They smarter than us. They buying up all of these houses and land. I mean,
Yes.
here goes him and the Prime Minister. Every time you look at the Prime Minister in a photo, it's him and some Haitian person.
Yes, ma'am.
I mean, as if he's just spitting in our faces daily.
Yes, ma'am. Well,
I'm just so over this man.
Yes, ma'am.
And how quick we need to get him out of office.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
then you got the Haitian children. They're not growing up and wanting to be Bahamians.
No, ma'am.
They want territory where Bahamians don't come on this side because this belongs to us. Well, how you could come into my country and tell me this is your turf? This is not your country.
Yes, ma'am. Well,
and you don't hear the Professor, you don't hear the Prime Minister or Mr. Pentad addressing immigration in no kind of way.
That is a very interesting point.
Right. And now Mr. Sayers is saying they making money, it's going into the country. And then he now comes out and say contribution to NIB is down.
Yes, I heard
as
that.
if they're going to now need to increase NIB contribution again.
Yeah.
Well, NIB was set up for the Bahamian people, not all of these foreigners who've been paying into that. They should not get anything out of it because they're not belong in our country.
Well, thank you for your contribution. I appreciate what the two callers have said. I'm going to deal with that because Bahamians, immigration, citizenship is a major national problem. People are infuriated over what has been reported to me, the Prime Minister being so cozy with these strangers, foreigners, aliens, and outsiders. And it would appear as if the naturalized Bahamians, real, genuine Bahamians, are being ignored in their own country. Now, there's a way to deal with such an individual who's running the country like this. We have always had the answer for 52 years. You know what has happened to us? We've been giving power to people who have taken advantage of our generosity, advantage of our trust, taken advantage for themselves, to profit themselves, their friends, their associates, and whoever else they have. Caller, you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Yes, Professor, I agree with what the lady said just now. You know why NIB is out of money? Let me explain something to you. You, as an organic Bahamian, you start contributing from you 18 until you 65. That's how many years? That's like 40-something years of contribution from you.
Yes, ma'am.
I come in as an immigrant, as an adult, maybe 30 or 40, So I paid there for a couple of years, and now, only a couple of years, I go and I dip into the pool.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So, your 40-something years is going to take care of me, who only probably put there for 5 years. So you can't have that balance. They
Yes,
should
ma'am.
not be put onto the system that was designed for Bahamians. If you want to do something for them, you establish another system. They should not be into social service. They should not be into NID. That was designed for Bahamians and
Yes, ma'am.
not Bahamians and any other.
Yes, ma'am.
That's the problem. We taken, and only so much person. And then the hurtful part about it, you sitting there from your 18, when you 60 something, or you miss one payment, I tell you, I gotta kick you off for some immigrant who came in here. That
Yes,
is the problem.
Yes, ma'am.
These people, the systems were not designed for this mass influx of people. And until we get this immigration system straightened out, they'll eat our lunch. We'll be a bunch of stupid people.
So thank you for your contribution. You had those 3 ladies who called in the show, and I can understand their sentiments. We want to hear from the men as well. Of course, my good friend from Grand Bahama did call. I tell her I hope she wasn't ducking me, but she's all right. Bahamians, we have a case before the Supreme Court. We have another caller, Mr. Producer. Oh, I'm going to get to the clip. Okay. The point is, we have a case which a few citizens have taken up on behalf of the Bahamian people now against the government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas for constitutional violations over a 52-year span. We've done our homework, Bahamians, thoroughly. We know that problem has never been corrected. Attorney General after Attorney General after Attorney, you had some of the brightest minds. Paul Adley, the Honorable Paul Adley, let me give him his full props. He's a father to me. He didn't see the error. You had the Honorable Paul McQueenie, I think his name is, McQueenie. Sean McQueenie, that's his name. I should remember Sean McQueenie. He graduated the same year I graduated from St. Augustine's. The Honorable Sean McQueenie, as brilliant as they say he was, he didn't see the error. He missed it. Or maybe he just overlooked it. So it isn't as if you didn't have competent, qualified, legally trained persons in the office of Attorney General. Every single one of them, from the very beginning right on up to now, has missed it completely. And the error was never corrected. Bahamians, that's a sad state of affairs to be in. 52 years later, we still got the problem. You hear what those 3 ladies said? We have a serious problem with immigration and citizenship. But a Cartwright may talk about giving them residency. Give them nothing. They don't deserve anything. You pack them up on one boat and ship them out of this place. That's what you do with them. We could call Donald Trump and he'd send one big ship, throw them all on that ship and get their backsides out of here. Because obviously the government of the Bahamas is incapable of dealing with this massive problem, citizenship and immigration. But that's why we had to take them to court. Now we will see what the court will do with it. We hope the case would start this month. We have another caller, Mr. Producer. Oh, caller, you're live on there. I'm going to get to the clip. Caller, you're live on there.
Agree with you. Don't give them residency because
No,
you're
they get
still
nothing.
not eliminating the problem. You want to eradicate the problem. Finally, finito,
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
endlessly. To give them residency, they're going to be having children filling up the school. They're going to be up in the hospital bed. Get them out. They don't belong here. What residency? Get rid of you got the tumor, take it out.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
can't go round and round and round like the Barry Bush. Take it out.
Thank you very much for your contribution. Boy, these women are really on fire today. This is Constitution Day. Of course, we want to hear from other callers out there. If you have a call, you just interrupt me, Bahamians. That's what I'm here for, to hear your complaints, because I like the fact that you complain. That's why I'm going to ask you to do something about it. You think we can't do nothing about it? You stay right there. The Constitution of the Commonwealth of Bahamas gives you the authority, according to Article 24.1, to protect your interests. Do you understand how important that is? Let me just play this tape before my producer calls. No, well, he wants me. He tells me he's ready. But I see I could talk till Christ come back, so I have to stop myself. Let's play this tape. I think this is a tape from on what he has there for us. Go ahead, Mr. Producer.
Speak today with a deep sense of gratitude, reflection, and humility. After much prayer, thoughtful discussion with my family, and critical reflection, I have advised the Prime Minister and the leadership of the Fort Charlotte branch that I will not be seeking a nomination in the upcoming general elections. This moment marks not an end, but a transition, one rooted in grace, perspective, and purpose. For the past 25 years, I have had the distinct honor of serving the people of Fort Charlotte, a community that welcomed me into their homes, entrusted me with their dreams and aspirations, and allowed me to bear witness to their resilience and spirit. And I thank them sincerely.
Did you hear what that man just said? Bahamians, this is why you need to listen carefully to what this particular personality is saying. We have to deal with what he's dealing with now. He's the Minister for Immigration and Citizenship. This particular personality is supposed to be very brilliant when it comes to law, and I'm not taking that away from him. He has the authority right now to tell the government of Bahamas, stop this crap with giving out fraudulent documents called citizenship. He knows better. Is he man enough to stand up and tell them that? He was involved with a case where they took the same piece of crap to the Privy Council and the government lost it. He knows better. But his own government right now, where he sits in that cabinet, is giving out scraps of paper called citizenship. And Alfred says, the Honorable Alfred says, knows better. Is he going to do better? Is he going to tell them, stop this foolishness and this nonsense while he is there? I want to hear about you going, you want to run again and that kind of thing. That's not important to me. That's a whole horse of a different color. I didn't hear him mention that he had discussions with his constituents. But he talked about the branch in Fort Charlotte. What did he do in the 25 years that he was representing the people of Fort Charlotte? What major constituency problems in Fort Charlotte did Alfred says, the Honorable Alfred says, solved on behalf of the people of Fort Charlotte, and here are the clear-cut benefits that they're enjoying today as a result of a 25-year representation. Let him talk about that. Not the fact that you say you ain't running again. That means nothing to nobody. It might mean something to him. What did he do in solving the major constituency problems of Fort Charlotte? That's what I'd like to hear from him. And you who are residents of Fort Charlotte need to ask him. You need to question that. He's been there 25 years. 25 years doing what? Collecting a paycheck? And the problems in Fort Charlotte keep piling up, piling up, piling up. There's a broadcaster who lives right in Fort Charlotte all the time. Sayers was representing them up to this day. You need to talk to him. And you'll hear some things from him. He lives there. I live in Centerville. Not too far away, of course. Let us hear from Alfred Sayers, the Honorable Alfred Sayers, what major constituency problems he has solved for the people of Fort Charlotte, and here are the clear-cut benefits that they're enjoying today as a result of these major constituency problems having been solved. Now, if he ain't do that, I don't know what we pay him 25 years to do what. Why were the people of Fort Charlotte electing him for 25 years? You hear that? So let's see, Fort Charlotte people, you can call in and tell me. What major constituency problems the Honorable Alfred Sayers has solved on behalf of the constituents of Fort Charlotte. He can't deal with Centerville. I got another fellow who's supposed to be dealing with Centerville. He will get the question too. Davis, that's what you ought to be concerned about. Not someone putting these little platitudes in there. After the fact, 25 years later, give me a break, man. This ain't no time for no crappy foolishness and nonsense. You heard what those women said? 4 women called into this show and told us how serious, and they are 100% correct. That matter has been thoroughly investigated by the team. That's why you had to take action against the government of the Commonwealth of Bahamas for doing foolishness over the last 52 years. Call you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Hey, Professor, how you doing?
I'm doing okay.
Good, good. Professor, do you agree that a learned man like...
Alfred says. The Honorable Alfred says.
No. Sir, I'll talk to you later about that. Because I heard you say that 3 times. I was going to ask you a question.
Oh, okay.
Should I refer to him as honorable when he's doing something dishonorable right now?
No, that's a good question. That's a very good... That's a very good question.
If the punishment fits the crime, I got to strip you of your badges. Now, I heard a lot of people call in and will express this to me, that honor is like respect. It should be earned.
It should be earned. Yes, I agree.
Sir. Yes. That's what I wanted to say. But,
okay.
And if that's your way, I can't stop you. But I just wanted to put that out there.
No, we could say, well...
Because if these people, these MPs or if they know they could be subject to their stripes of honor being taken away, they'll be more careful on their jobs.
No, I agree with that.
Well,
I certainly agree. Well, thank you, caller. No,
thank you.
The thing is, the constituents in every single constituency have never questioned their representative. And anyone who has any contrary view could call me and tell me right now on air. Examining every single one of those in that house right now, all 39 of them, as to what they have done representing the particular constituency they've been elected to look after in solving the major constituency problems. That will always be one question I will ask. Because I can be campaigning too. I don't start my campaign. I will ask that question and the next question about national issues. What major national problems have been solved by the government of the Bahamas? Are 2 different things entirely, Bahamians. Because nothing is more important than that. I don't care what kind of clothes they wear or how much education in their head. Mr. Sayers supposed to be a constitutional expert, trained legally. We don't take that away from him. What have you done in the office of Minister for Citizenship and Immigration? That's what's important. He's there now. And he's not doing a crap about the crap that's going on in his own government. He was involved in a case where his government took the matter before the Privy Council, and the government lost. He knows better, but he's not telling his government. They're doing foolishness, endangering the national stability of this country with this overload of foreigners, strangers, foreigners, aliens, outsiders. They're fraudulently adding to the list of registered voters. They need to stop this foolishness. That's why we appeal to the court. Now, I understand from my advisor that we should have action on that this month, but we will see. I think the court's taking too long. We need justice. We are supposed to be a nation of laws. Every time you hear them, they will run to the Constitution when they want to cover their backsides. We know they're violating the Constitution. No ifs, no ands, no buts about that. They've been doing it for 52 years. Next July, this July coming, will make 52. Right from day one, Bahamians, they've been violating the Constitution. That is a serious crime. Do you know that? You don't take that lightly. They've taken your trust, and what you gave them, they've used it against us. And right here we are suffering. This is Professor Sidney McArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. We'll be back after the break.
The discussion of today's issue. Let your voice be heard. Speak your mind and express yourself. Call in and participate at 326-0271 or 326-0272. WhatsApp us your concerns on 809-2310. Follow us live on Facebook and globalradio99.5fm.com. Express yourself.
This is Professor Sidney McArthur Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network 99.5 FM. Of course, the radio station is on. Facebook is on. Cable 974 is on. Let's see, did I miss anything? No, I don't think so. What's up line? Oh, yes. It's a good thing I got my producer there to keep me reminded. 8130271 is the WhatsApp line. You can also call on that line. You have 3260272. 3260272. I think the voice line 3260271 is off. We're having some difficulty with that. 3260272, 8130271. Those are the two lines that we have. And of course, you have Facebook on there as well. I believe we have a caller on the line. Caller, you live on air. Go ahead, please. Caller, you there?
Hi, good day, Professor.
Hey, how you doing, man?
And good day, Bahamas.
You're the first man to call into the show.
Professor,
Yeah.
I didn't hear anybody mention it yet, but there's a travel ban in effect in America on Haiti,
Yes.
among other countries.
Yes.
So are we considering that there's going to be another influx if Haitians cannot travel to America? And they definitely are trying to leave Haiti. Where are they going to come?
That's an excellent question that you asked. I'm
We
getting a
need
feedback.
to wake up. I'll be listening, Professor.
I'm getting a feedback while you talk to me, and I'm talking to you. Could you? I don't know. Can you hear me clearly on that end?
I can hear you clearly.
Yeah, but I'm getting a feedback every time when I speak. I'm getting this feedback. But anyhow, continue what you were saying.
I'm saying that there's a travel ban
On Haiti.
against Haiti
Yes.
and other countries.
Right.
So there's been no conversation. I haven't heard anybody mention that we are gonna anticipate that there's gonna be an influx of more Haitians coming this way,
This way, yeah.
because it is not likely that they're gonna sail to Canada.
No.
So it
That's
is very
a good
likely
point.
that more will be making their way to the Bahamas.
No, that's a good point. We need to find out from
So,
the government of the Bahamas.
I'll be listening. I just wanted
Yeah.
to mention that.
No, but that's a good point. That's an excellent
Yeah.
point the caller
All
brought up. Thank you very much, caller. Yes, that's an excellent point made by the caller. Will we have, and still we have, do we still have Bahamas Air going into Haiti? Bringing Haitians here? What are bringing these Haitians here for? To do what? Why do we have Bahamas Air going into Haiti at this time? For what purpose? We're going to try and see if we can get the gentleman who runs Bahamas Air on the line. Mr. Lewis, see if you could find the number for him. I'm going to call him right now. Dial his number so I could talk to him right here on air. Because the thing is, Bahamians, we are in a crisis. You have to understand how serious this is. The travel ban is on for those Haitians. So where the hell they think they're going? With the Haitians help? Huh? Donald Trump and the government of the United States doesn't want them there. We haven't heard a peep squeak from the government of the Bahamas, from the Prime Minister, because a lot of emphasis is being put on him. He said he's the fellow who's supposed to be running things. You know that's not constitutionally. Let me explain something to you, because see, you people don't know your Constitution. That was get me angry sometimes. There is nothing in the Constitution of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas where it says the Prime Minister is supreme. Nothing. Go and check it for yourself. What the Constitution does say, the Cabinet has what? Overall direction and overall control of 3, the government. Did you get that, Bahamians? It says the cabinet. The cabinet is different from the prime minister. And people ain't learned that yet. 52 years have passed and we ain't learned that yet. Come on, Bahamians. Say the prime minister. Do you know who's supposed to keep tabs on the prime minister? The particular personality who has been elected or recommended to become the prime minister. You know where that happens? In the House of Assembly. And the Constitution is very specific about this, you know. The leader of the party. I was informed someone put that in there to protect somebody's interest. Now, that's what I heard now. But I got to go by what the Constitution says. Even if somebody had some selfish motives within them, to phrase it that way. The leader of the party that commands the majority of the members of that house. Did you get that, Bahamians? Well, the one who's there now is the leader of the party that commands the majority of the members of that house. 31. He made 32. Fine, no problem. Once it's constitutional, I ain't got no problem with that. In the event that is not possible, there's another choice. If there is no leader of the party that commands the majority of members of that house, then the next choice is, in the eyes of the Governor General, the particular member of the House of Assembly that would command the majority of the members of that house. They're the only 2 ways a person could be prime minister. Of course, the person has to be a member of the house. That's all constitutional. I got no problem with that, you know. So it takes the members of the House of Assembly to keep tabs on this particular personality who has been recommended to become the prime minister. But just about every one of them in there got government position, got one government job. Are they doing their job in looking out for the interests of the Bahamian people at the national level and at the constituency level? Because they got double roles to play, you know. And you have some of them who are members of the cabinet, and they are also representative in the House of Assembly. And then you have 1 or 2, a couple of them in the Senate who have been appointed as ministers in the government. I think there are about 2 of them. But listen to this now. If you have members in the House of Assembly, see, this is why I keep saying to the Bahamian people, you have to know the quality of the people you send there. What you have done was fill the House up with party personalities who are sitting in parliamentary seats. That's all they're doing. You give a particular party 32 seats in the last general election. And they're supposed to go there to look out for your interests, and all they're just being party personalities, not parliamentary representatives. Did you get that, Bahamians? That's why we got this foolishness going on now, where everybody worships the particular personality and bow and shank to the particular personality, while the personality continues to make error after error after error. And nobody says, wait a minute now. That's not constitutionally sound. Because you see, these very people don't know the Constitution. See, that's the problem. You got Alfred Sayers in there, who's supposed to be a brain box when it comes to legal matters. And he was involved in a legal matter concerning the Nationality Act, and the government lost. It's in the records, Bahamians. And the man sits right there as Minister of Immigration and Citizenship and isn't lifting a finger to save the country. That's the kind of leader you got. This is happening right now as I speak to you. He can come up talking about he ain't running no more. So the heck, what is he ain't running no more? Good riddance. That means nothing, Bahamians. The damage has already been done. 25 years of what? People in Fort Charlotte call me and tell me what major problems your representative has solved in 25 years. I'd like to hear it. Because, Bahamians, that's how you judge a representative. You judge a representative based on parliamentary representation, if he ever had that. And in most cases, constituents have never had parliamentary representation in their constituency. I got to do a whole series of town meetings on parliamentary representation. I said registration. Parliamentary representation. And also on the purpose of the government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Because, Bahamas, you don't know these things. And the citizenship issue. That's why I said I'm calling on your support. Your financial support now, because we got to have some big town meetings to educate the Bahamian people. Because it isn't being done. The mainstream press ain't doing nothing about it. Didn't I tell you the other day when the caller, not the caller, the reporter or journalist was talking to a seasoned person, the Prime Minister, and she asked a question and then attempted to answer the question she asked the Prime Minister. You never ask a question and try to answer it for a seasoned veteran like that. Let him answer it himself. If I get the same, only 2 questions I can put to him. Just 2. And I know he's incapable of answering those 2 questions. He could never answer them because he don't have any answers for them. There's enough evidence to show that he doesn't have it. He might try to dilly-dally around and talk foolishness and nonsense, but he can't answer it. I'm going to ask my representative the 2 questions. He's a minister too. He's in Centerville. He will not be able to answer those 2 questions. Only 2 questions I have to ask them, and that's it. I got to ask them no more. You judge a person based on the work they would have done if they did any, but they got good pay. You gave them all kind of benefits over 52 years. Some of them dead and gone. I wouldn't lift a finger to help the country. But that's what you get, Bahamians. You gave one party a massive landslide of seats. You give another party a massive landslide of seats. And what happened? You still got the problem. The problems are still there, Bahamians. So how come? And the other man say he want another chance. Give him another chance. Give me a break, man. 52 years, these 2 parties have had the opportunity to run this place. How much more time you want to give them? Let them answer those 2 questions. What major constituency problems have been solved in the 39 constituencies over the last 52 years? And here are the clear-cut benefits that come to each particular constituency as a result of these major constituency problems having been solved. You asked that of all those who had the opportunity to represent this place. And the next one, what major national problems have been solved by the government of the Bahamas over the last 52 years. And here are the clear-cut benefits that the people are enjoying today in the Commonwealth of Bahamas as a result of these major national problems having been solved. Those are 2 questions. I got to ask no more questions. Just tell them to answer those 2. And you as Bahamians, you need to ask them that question too. You who live in those constituencies ought to know. You who lived in this country ought to know. I know the answer to 2 of them. And that's the only 2 questions I'll put to every single one of them who has ever sat in that house. I need to ask them nothing else. They are not qualified or capable to answer either of those questions. I've come to that conclusion. I put it out there from last July the 8th, and not a living soul has been able to challenge it. So I know the nature of the beast, Bahamians. I want to know what color your underpants is, or what kind of tie you wear, or what cologne you take. I'm not interested in those things, or who you associate with. Those things are not important to me. It's what you have done in the office that the people of this country have put you in to do their business. That's what's important. So Bahamians, we need town meetings, parliamentary representation, constitutional citizenship. I can need your financial support for that. So you call me and say, Professor, I want to sponsor a town meeting on citizenship. I want to sponsor a town meeting on parliamentary representation. You haven't had it in 52 years. Do you understand how serious that is? You see the crap that's going on now? You see the mountains of problems we're having in this country at the national level, at the constituency level? And yet you're paying these people. You will even cut the pay. They ain't giving you all no more money. Paying them for what? But they get their check every month. And the least among us are carried to war just to get a check or some social security, social services benefit, $70 every 3 months. Is that the understanding I got? Does that make any sense to you? That has been reported to me. And then you got these elderly citizens sitting outside 5 o'clock in the morning to get something from social services. What kind of nonsense is that? That's the first time I heard that happening in Grand Bahama. This is disgrace, man. So what kind of people do we have? Is that the way we treat citizens in this country, senior citizens? There must be respect. And as that caller had said, he talked about, should he call them honorable? It is a very good question that he asked, but the Constitution talks about them being honorable members of the House of Assembly. I have to answer it from the Constitution. Now, he doesn't agree, but he is saying that you have to earn your respect. I agree with that. So why are we putting up people who are dishonorable and calling them honorable? Why are we doing that? We got to fix that, Bahamians. And I said to the people, July the 8th, in setting an example, Proverbs 29:2, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. Now you figure out whether you're rejoicing in your particular constituency with the particular personality who ought to be your parliamentary representative. Notice my words now. Ought to be sitting in a parliamentary seat in the House of Assembly. That's not a party seat, Bahamians. But I even heard the Minister for Works, this PLP government, and it's on both sides, behemoth. They are so politically polarized. The Ministry of Works money doesn't belong to the PLP. That's the taxpayers' money. But the man say, this PLP government. And then he talk about himself going over the islands and he talking about roadworks and that kind of thing. And he thanks the particular personality who gave him the position. Well, he said Family Islanders, so he said he can identify with Family Island people. That's fine. And I'll ask him the question, what major works has the Ministry of Works done? What major problems have been solved by the Ministry of Works at the national level in the Commonwealth of Bahamas? And here are the clear-cut benefits that come to the Bahamian people as a result of these major works problems having been solved. Remember, we went through this road improvement program under Mr. Ingram, you know. $100 million overspent. Do you understand how serious that is? And we ain't finished with that yet. That matter has never been cleared up. This new government came into power under Christie, never cleared up. It just pushed right under the rug. But now they say they're doing word works again in New Providence. You see how broke up the roads are in New Providence? Family Island roads even worse than that. In some places you got bush growing on where the plains are supposed to land. The point is, the government of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas has a responsibility to protect the interests of the citizens of the country. And that's what you need to understand. The duty of the representative is to solve the problems that afflict you in that particular constituency. Is that happening? Yes or no? You tell me whether you have a righteous representative in your particular constituency, because the scriptures tell me, Proverbs 29:2, when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. Do you see any rejoicing in any of these constituencies? You call me and tell me. Rejoicing over what? And the first four callers, I think they were all females, and the fifth caller, and none of them tell me nothing about nothing rejoicing. But what does that tell you? Scripture tells me you want to rejoice, then give righteous people the opportunity to run the place. It's just as simple as that. And I'm going to be very specific, very clear-cut in giving you what Scripture says and what the Constitution said. That's all I need. I need nothing, no crap from nobody else. Because those two documents hold you up until Christ comes back. And they don't change. Now, with the Constitution, the people decide to have a referendum. And I'll be right in the thick of it. Because it had to go the right way. The point is, Bahamians, we have serious national problems. We have serious constituency problems that have not been solved in 52 years. Now, if any major constituency problems have been solved in your constituency, I asked you this from July the 8th of last year. We're coming up on July the 8th of this year. And not a living one of you been able to say to me, Professor, these are the major constituency problems that have been solved in here, and here are the clear-cut benefits we are now enjoying today. Not a living one of you is able to call and tell me that. You could do it today if you forgot. A whole year's almost passed. and you didn't answer the question. So how much more time you need? How much more time do you need? You've been living there all your life. And you've had representative after representative after representative. And you can't tell me in 52 years what major constituency problems have been solved in your constituency. Maybe I got a problem with you. That's a serious problem. And you cannot say what major national problems the government of the Bahamas has solved in 52 years. But you paid them plenty of money. They spent a lot of money, hundreds of millions of dollars, maybe billions of dollars over that 52-year span. What do we have for it? Look at the evidence, Amy. Look at the crap we're in. Look at the multitude of problems we have in this country. This is Professor Sidney McGrath of Walter Thompson. The line's open. You could call me. And let's deal with those two questions that I asked. And let's see if you can answer them. Because it's been almost a year since I gave you the proposal. And I say, here is what we can do. We can do it, Bahamians. It has been thoroughly examined by the professor. And I stand by what I say. I don't have to move away from that because I know I'm 100% correct. This is Professor Sidney McGrath of Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. We'll be back after the break.
Express Yourself Live will return right after this.
We have a clip from the leader of the opposition and in the House of Assembly. Let's hear that tape, please. Oh, the Minister of Housing. I'm sorry. I take that back. The Minister of Housing. And then we put on the leader of the opposition.
But really trying to build a few hundred homes across the length and breadth of New Providence, not just in New Providence, but also in the Family Islands. So the government gives up to $40,000 in tax breaks for persons wanting to construct their own home in terms of building materials. And I'm talking about from shingles, plywood, plumbing, electrical, all of these different fixtures. You get exemptions and tax breaks. In addition to that, as the Minister of Housing, I have a complete exemption on building materials, and that is why we're able to bring the cost of construction down, as well as we partner with a number of private individuals and corporate Bahamas to ensure that we're able to build homes, develop subdivisions, and we're about to build several new subdivisions in New Providence.
I just wondered if he should have been able to tell us when these exemptions came into effect. I don't know. Well, we need to have the cost of building houses go down. I don't have a problem with that. And the tax breaks, what he said, $40,000. Did I understand him correctly? $40,000. That's a help in the right direction. You may need more than $40,000. You might need $80,000 or $100,000 in exemptions. Get the whole house up, bringing those things in duty free. That's a step in the right direction as far as that is concerned. But I don't know when it came into effect. He said they're trying to build, just hold on. They're trying to build a few hundred homes. I don't know why they waited so late. Why is this just coming out now? You've had since election of September 2021, September the 16th or thereabout. And I don't know. All I'm saying is this flurry of activity about building houses. They're trying to put up a few hundreds of houses. Is he trying to say this is going to be done before the next election? I don't know. I'm just puzzled over it. But I'm not against him saying that exemption should be given to Bahamians. But 40,000 is not enough. We should at least get 100,000 or more. And the more we want to build, then you should expand that to everybody who is wanting to put up their homes. Calling you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, good afternoon, Professor Magado.
Hey, where you been hiding yourself, man?
Right here on the
Why
border.
you didn't call me yesterday?
Right here on the border. No, I was trying to fix this new phone. I got a new phone. I'm trying to reprogram the numbers in.
You still is my friend, you know.
I mean, he's neighbors, man.
Okay.
Those guys go on the same road to get
Yeah,
over.
exactly, yeah.
But listen, Professor, I don't think you're 99% correct or 95% correct when you say you asked that question for several years and nobody answered.
Yeah, but I put it out July the 8th of last year, and not a living soul has been able to answer the two questions.
Well, I called you to start on a point of correction.
Okay. Because
when you and Hailey was on a little over a year ago, I called, you asked a question, and I gave you an answer outside of Sidney Oscar Pinland, that some of the stuff that he did that can and will affect each and every Bahamian, like you're asking. Outside of that, nothing. Nothing. That's the answer to that question. Nothing has been done.
Okay, fair enough. No, that's correct. I wasn't thinking about Linden at the time, but what you said there is correct. So I accept the correction.
Nothing has been done. And what we must realize, we are at the point in our nation's history at 52 years where it is no more handouts, no more sucking up to this for no more. We have to make a clear and decisive decision as to which direction, after 52 years, we as Bahamians prepared to take this nation. Not no FNM, not no PLP. Because when I told you all a little close to 2 years ago that what the PLP and the FNM are doing is by design, I get rolled out.
Yeah, you did say that, yes.
It is by design. They designed this. You understand? And it was taught to Sir Lyndon Oscar Pinland by Mugabe of Africa. When Pinland first was an upstart, he went there. That's who taught Pinland that. But we have to decide where we
Want to
want
go.
to go
That's
in this
correct.
nation, rather
Yes.
than trying to, at this point, rehash the 52 years. That didn't happen now.
That didn't happen, yeah.
It already happened, man. Where Hyla is today?
Where are we today?
Where's Hyla, Mr. Hyla?
Oh, Mr. Hyler, he'll be on. Tomorrow is what? Thursday. He should be
Yeah,
on.
Thursday.
He should be on Friday.
Okay, one more thing, Professor. Look at what the FNM and the Progressive Liberal Party are doing. I'll put it in the simplest terms. The PLP is in power. Professor needs some bridges clean around his yard. So the PLP would give that contract to Professor because that's their friends, family, cronies, and lovers.
Yes.
When the Free National Movement comes in, that same bridge goes right back up. And then they would take that same contract and give it to one of their supporters. In essence, what I'm trying to tell you is they're recycling the problems in this country between FNM and PLP, recycling the same old problems in order to loot the cash of the Bahamian people. You let it go up, you in power. Okay, when I come and I can let it go up and you cut the same thing down. That is what is happening in this country.
Okay.
They're recycling on the Bahamian people. Thanks for taking my call.
Thank you, caller. The caller has some valid points that he has said. It's by design. Bahamians, we have to determine which direction we're going to be going as a nation. Now, I'm going to be very specific when it comes to choosing a representative. As you heard what the last caller said, it is by design by these two particular political parties. That's his view. He has a right to that view. All we have to do is look at it and examine it and see, is there any validity into it? I know this. Outside of what Sir Lyndon set up, he is correct. I hadn't thought of it in that light, but he's correct on that point. Sir Lyndon made some strong contributions at the beginning and set up some things for the Bahamian people. Unfortunately, those who succeeded him have not maintained those things strictly for the Bahamian people. A lot of the money has been lost and wasted. And that's why those first four callers were complaining about national insurance. The fact that I heard Mr. Alfred says talk about a number of persons being added, I think he said 1,200 if I'm not mistaken, to get pension checks from national insurance. Well, they contributed, they contributed to the fund. I contributed to the fund. Many others contributed to the fund. So they have a right to benefit from the fund. Those running the fund are responsible for managing the fund. The question is, you have to ask yourself, what has happened to the money from the beginning right on up to now? They've raised the rates, yes. They're getting some more money. I think they said 4 million more added. That's 4 by 12, that's 48 million. And there are still some people who are outstanding on national insurance payments. What national insurance need to do is give us a listing of those who are outstanding on their national insurance payments. Let the public know. Is the government of the Bahamas delinquent in paying for its employees on national insurance payments? They're going after certain people in the private sector. I don't necessarily have a problem with that, because everybody who is working should pay their national insurance money. But you can't make bone of one and flesh of the other. Because I know the time of Mr. Ingram, some people in Grand Bahama never paid any light bill, never paid any water bill, never paid any national insurance bill. And the man told us he can't Get them to pay. What you mean you can't get them to pay? What we got Interpol for? The international police or the Interpol, we are supposed to be connected to Interpol. How come we haven't gotten any resolution from that? You just let people come in here, walk out, create a lot of bills, but never pay them? Are you going to allow the Bahamian to do that? You carry him, squeeze the daylight out of him, particularly the small Bahamian. And I'm not saying you should treat anybody unfairly, but you make demands on the average citizen that you don't make demands on the rich and the powerful in the land. And some have even left the country and didn't pay their bills. Now you got another problem. I would mention this: the loss of our working population, our men in particular, and our women who are dying. Now you need these people to stay alive and work and produce so they can contribute to the fund. That's another avenue we need to look at. We're losing too many people. My sister was telling me the other day about persons I know, they ought to be as young as I am. And some of them are not as young as I am, who are just disappearing. And then I get the shock of my life when I get to know who these people are. And they didn't tell me they were going anywhere. They didn't call me and say, Professor, I'm going to be departing tomorrow. They give you no notice. And I'm saddened by that, very saddened by that. And you men out there, you don't even communicate with one another. Even in my own family, the male members of the family do not communicate regularly and consistently with each other. Now the women do. And they know all the business about the men. Some members of my family, I had even called them. And I haven't gotten a return. I'm talking about the male members now. I have given them a good tongue lashing. And I do get to talk to them. In fact, I told one just the other day. I said, we as men in this family, we do not communicate with each other. And he got grandchildren. I'm not familiar with all those grandchildren that he has. I hardly see him, and I know his wife very well. Very nice person. As soon as I called her, she was able to recognize who I was. But the point is, the male members of the family do not communicate. Maybe that's why we had this problem with the other show. The host who was doing that show, Ambassador Devon Roll, he wanted to get something positive from the audience about the men. Are the men doing better today? The answer is no, they're not. That's the question he asked. Are they better off now? Are they doing better today than before? The answer is no, the men are not. The generations below me are failing miserably. We don't have that strong male leadership. And the scripture says to the fathers, provoke not your children to wrath. And the children need to understand, even though daddy or mommy might not have done what they should have done, you still are to honor your mother and your father. There's no excuse for dishonoring or showing disrespect and contempt toward your mother and your father. God would take care of that aspect of it. You just make sure you're on the right side of the fence. I think we have a call on the line. Caller, you're live on air. Go ahead, please. Caller, you there?
Yes, Professor?
Yeah, how you doing, man?
Good. Professor, I'd just like to make a quick suggestion for a show to open the eyes of a lot of people. The first, like you said, the first 3-4 ladies before I called.
Yeah, you did, yeah.
Was spot, yes. This gentleman, see that I can't call him a gentleman because I think he's a thug.
Yeah.
That the lady, your friend from Freeport mentioned, this is not a Lutra. She said it was a Lutra, but it's Abaco that's on lockdown.
Okay.
And if this process, this illegal process of voting is allowed, Abaco is gone. I've lived in Abaco for 4 years. They have more Bahamian people. They have more Haitians than Bahamians there.
Okay.
And the whites and the Haitians tend to stick together because, you know, the whites, the Bahamian blacks and whites always have that issue. But the suggestion for the show I would like you to consider is that this voice note, I think I'm pretty certain your producer, he has his ears open, I'm sure. If he could get that, take out the curse words and hear exactly what the spirit of the Haitian is, the Haitians we're talking about, because they have some lovely Haitian people now, you know. But if you can get that and analyze, well, you listen to it and analyze that and address each thing. Well, he's called us dumb and stupid. They're smarter than us, even though their country is gone. And they're here. And now, the reason I'm giving him credence is because of that picture that Brave Davis and Brave Davis is hugging him up on his birthday and Labor Day. It's a very, very strong statement. Now, if this statement could be made, why can the Bahamian people have a chance to analyze this character to find out in which direction this country is going through? Because I think it's a very, very, but you'll have to listen to make your judge for yourself.
Yeah, okay.
Thank you very much.
That is a good suggestion, Mr. Medusa. I hope we might be able to hear that tape. I'll listen to it off air, and then I can make a determination on it. But apparently, the people are very much concerned of the actions of the Prime Minister. Something is wrong because people are very disappointed. The Prime Minister of this country appears to favor strangers, foreigners, aliens, outsiders, and not citizens of the Commonwealth of the Bahamas, genuine Bahamians. Well, there's something we could do about that. He doesn't have to be in the office. That's point number one. I think we have a caller on the line. Caller, you live on air. Go ahead.
Yes, Professor. I had to call back with that gentleman said about the man in Abaco. The Bahamian people are asleep. That is the hate they having for us, and they just waiting to strike. He was the same man, as I could remember, who said, give the people a Colombian bow tie. We are playing with a time bomb. A time bomb. We need to do what we have to do. They are ready to take over. They are ready to take over. That's why they're spreading all over the island. So when the clarion call comes, they will take action. The Bahamian people, we are clueless. What's going on? We are clueless. We need to get up out our deep sleep. The politicians, they need to get up out their deep sleep, because when this thing hits, they're going to be the first that they target. That man, he let the cat out the bag. That was supposed to be a big secret. It is what it is. That's where we are, this country, with these illegal people. They're ready to take over.
Okay, thank you for your contribution. I can understand the anxiety of the Bahamian people. Now, there is something we can do constitutionally. One aspect of it is for people to be thoroughly educated on how to choose the right person to represent them in the House of Assembly. Once you have that information from the scriptures and from the Constitution, there's only two documents you need. You need no more than that. You ain't got to listen to all this crap from this one, that one, and the next one. Just filter that out of your mind. You're going to get clear, precise direction as to who you ought to choose. The scriptures will guide you. The Constitution of the country will guide you. You couldn't get it better than that, Bahamians. There are some specific qualities you must look for in a possible representative. Now, see, those who are there now, you could make up your mind about them, because I asked two major questions. about the constituency representation and the government representation. Call you live on air. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, but Arthur Walter Thompson.
Yes, sir.
This is number 7. I call back to I didn't want to really go in 12 into it. When the first time I called, but those last 2 callers, they write onto something. They're on point.
They're on point, yes.
Let me tell you, we have been 52 years of independence, so we say. Whatever kind of independence you want to call it. The political parties.
Wait a minute. Hold on, caller. You doubt the Constitution?
No. I say 52. You mean if I doubted it as independent?
No. Do you doubt what the Constitution says?
No, I don't.
Oh, okay. All right. Okay, move on.
But
then.
you got some people that say we independent and then some that say we ain't whatever they want to call it.
Okay, fine. All right. Okay. We got that view. We have that.
Yeah, but Bill Brave, our Prime Minister, has done almost something that maybe people that we can consider treasonous. And since he came in this last time, he has basically been watching, like old people say, don't do what I do what I say.
Do what you
if
say.
You watch him, like one of your callers said, everywhere he pops his head up, he either with Frankie Florida,
Frankie Florida, yeah.
or Louis George, or the Haitian and small children to show you the trajectory of where this country is going. Now, I got wind of something with reference to the Labor Day march. Now, you know, we've been marching now for 50 years. For the KLTF and everybody been marching. But never before has a political party called to its members. That's supposed to be Labor Day now, but called its members in full force, 18,000 participation. You know what that was? This is what some of the people from down south told me. They said that was a window, a spot check to see how much of the voting bloc is out there in support of the Progressive Liberal Party. That was a spot check. Never before have they watered down the Labor Day march that bad, like what they did the other day. Now, that's what the people them on the other side telling me, my friend.
Yeah.
They was called out to take a check, a count. So what's happening? That's why the Prime Minister called in and was telling them, he probably saw a reasonable about a number, to tell them, get ready for the election.
Yes, he did speak to that.
Ready.
Yes.
Okay?
Okay.
So I just want to put that out there. My friends of Haitian descent told me that. And that's what's going on in the country. Those last callers are right on point. Thanks for taking the call.
Well, thank you, caller. I got to go to the end of the show as the time is up now. I want to thank those who participated in the show. Of course, I'll be here tomorrow, which is Thursday, I think. Tomorrow is Thursday, yeah. This is Professor Sidney McArthur, Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. Thank you very much. Have a pleasant afternoon. Pray for the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And Bahamians, we have a lot of work to do in saving the country. We have to do it now, not tomorrow, not next week, but now. This is Professor Sidney McArthur, Walter Thompson on the Global Radio Network, 99.5 FM. Have a pleasant afternoon.